David Griffin reached out to me earlier in the year and asked if I would be involved and if I would either have an exhibit or if I would be interested in teaching. And it was probably the first time. I recently had a baby, and so with that I've decided I'm going to try and do a little less time in the field and a little more time giving back a bit, teaching and lecturing. And so I wanted to make it work, and I was really flattered that they asked me to be involved. I think for veteran photographers, it's definitely inspirational. For me, I've always found festivals like Perpignan, like this, to be really inspirational in terms of seeing what my peers are doing, seeing what photographers who have been around long before I came into the field, seeing what they're doing. Are they using multimedia? What kind of projects are they doing these days? How they're telling their stories. And to me, that's constantly evolving. And the photographers I admire the most are photographers who are constantly evolving their own work and their own eye. For younger photographers or emerging photographers, I think these festivals are great for contacts and to use people, veteran photographers, as a resource to how they can advance their careers, how they can find direction, how they can pursue the field they want to go into within photojournalism or within photography. That's a hard question. I think that a lot of the countries I've worked in have been inspirational, and I think they've built on the experience I've had in the past. Afghanistan has probably been the country where I've worked most consistently over the years. I started there very early on in 2000, and I've worked there almost every year since then. So for me, Afghanistan is a place where I've had a very deep connection for years, and it sort of culminated with the National Geographic story I did, Veiled Rebellion, between 2009, 2010. So I would say Afghanistan, but Sudan is a country that I worked in for 6 years, focusing on Darfur, and that body of work as well, to me, was very important because I was one of few photographers who had access consistently over the 6 years when it became difficult for journalists to get in. So I think that work, to me, was really important because it created an important document of what was happening in Darfur. I think if you're working in the Muslim world, I think there are definite advantages to being a woman because we as journalists, we're seen sort of as this androgynous being. You know, we can cover men, we can cover women, we can enter into homes. That sort of access is an access that male journalists don't get. So in that sense, I think it's a great advantage to being a woman because I do have access to the entire population. In terms of being on the front line, I don't think it matters if you're male or female. I think that, you know, the danger is equal for men and women. I think I've focused on women's issues throughout my career, and that is something that I will continue to focus on. Being a mother, it hasn't really changed my perspective towards my work because I've always felt very passionately about what I do, and it's always been very all-encompassing. Maybe now that I have a son and I've been through the labor process, when I go to photograph maternal mortality issues, I'm going to really, really empathize more with women in labor. It's, you know, I couldn't believe, I remember after I gave birth, I said, one of the first things I thought about was, I cannot believe all the women who have let me photograph them giving birth, because if anyone ever walked into my labor room with a camera, I would kill them. I would have killed them. So, but no, I'd probably, you know, I'm not sure how much it'll affect my work. I would say I'm not going right to the front line right now. I'm not like running right back into combat. I am still covering war. I have, you know, I will still work in war zones, but whether I'm going to go, you know, right into the middle of a gun battle in the next few months, probably not. Yeah. The issues I choose to cover or issues that I get assigned or issues that I really believe in. And often when the story's over, it's not like I'm done with the story. Often I want to go back, and I want to go back many times, because I think the preliminary access is really just the beginning. You know, it's only, you know, if I'm working on a story now, and if I spend a week on that story, all I'm thinking about is how to get back there and how many times I can get back there, because the work only gets deeper as you go on. So Penguin is publishing it. I have a book deal with Penguin, and I've written most of it actually. So I'm just sort of working on a bit more, and I think it's scheduled to come out next year, next fall, or around Christmas.